Week 5 in the books. Another good week of NFL football. Actually, probably one of the better weeks in total from game to game. A lot of good ones out there. Some stinkers, but we'll get into that. Cole, how surprised are you that Robert Salah is no longer the head coach of the New York Jets?
Definitely didn't see it coming. I didn't you say was it you that said you could see it coming this week or no? That was
My top three were Peterson, Stefanski, and McDaniel, and then I said it wouldn't. And then last week I did say something about Salah, but I didn't. I thought those three were more so on the hot seat than good old Robert Salah in New York.
Salah. Salah. Give him some respect on his name on the way out at least. Um
Uh, I don't.
the
You know me. I don't get names right, and then if I think your name is something, I'm gonna say it.
yeah, I think it's just like Woody Johnson hearing the reports that they escorted Salah out of the building and like without him even getting to say bye to the team. I don't know how common it is that the coach gets to stay by to the team, especially in a mid-season hire. Um, so I don't know. I'm torn on like what my how big of a reaction I have to it. I think it's a he's going to be a great defensive coordinator again, and then he'll probably get another head coaching gig in 5 years, 3 years, who knows? But I think it's tough to look at that team and be like, oh, the defense was bad, and like the defense was good,
Yeah.
and they never lost games because their defense, and it just sucks that like you got to it's ultimately it's okay. Like the last thing I'll say on this, it's almost like defensive head coaches are set up to fail because if you're an offensive coach and you're scoring 35 and you're losing 8 games a year by 37 points, you're not gonna like. I think you have a better chance of sticking around if your offense is putting up 35 points a game. But if you're a defensive head coach and you're losing games 12-9, then yeah, like it's hard to just I don't know. What do you think about that?
I was more surprised that Nathaniel Hackett was not fired as well. I just don't think that.
That
I don't think Hackett can hack it. Ha ha. No, I like. There's something wrong with that offense. Like, I don't know really what it is, and I like. You're more of an Aaron Rodgers guru than I am, but it just seems like there was something always off with that team, stemming all the way back from the Egypt thing over the summer, with Rodgers not showing up to OTAs or whatever. And then him saying, it is called optional camp. And then Salah had some fucking comments in the press about that. There were reports that him and Woody Johnson also got into a shouting match over the NFL draft. Um, yeah, and in a like we both don't live in New York now. Well, I used to live in New York, but radio shows hosts up there would probably be killing him. They're probably slandering him all the time because the New York Jets fan base had high expectations for this team. So did Woody Johnson. Woody Johnson had a press conference prior to this season saying that this is the best team he's ever assembled as the Jets owner, which is kind of ironic because Shad Khan said the same thing about the Jaguars, and look at where they are. But I'm just surprised that after 5 weeks he gets fired, and like that was probably the worst Aaron Rodgers is gonna play this year is that game in London. Like I don't think that he'll have a worse game than that. Unless he gets hurt, which him being 40 and then being 41 in a couple weeks could be because like the wear and tear it's starting to show on him.
uh, okay, I don't know. Rogers is going to be fine. It's the offense. It's nothing. I mean,
Their offensive line is very bad.
Their offensive line's not good, and Brees Hall isn't top running back like people thought he was going to be.
I think
And
that also
Braylon
stems from
Allen's playing
offensive
well,
line.
but yeah, but also you've got I don't think Garrett Wilson's a top 5 or 7 receiver like people thought he could be at his ceiling. And all of a sudden Alan Lazard is like the go-to guy for the Jets offense. I mean, yeah, Garrett Wilson had like what 12 catches last week, but
He had
like my point
13
is,
catches on 22 targets.
yeah, my point is the chemistry that Rodgers has with Lazard is better than everyone else.
Oh yeah.
And Lazard still dropped some passes. He dropped a touchdown that would have made it a really good game. So I don't know. I'm ready to move on from that game.
Yeah, I mean
Vikings are real,
we're
real.
gonna talk about it in a second, but yeah, let's go first down. Fucking Thursday night football. We had a great game. Baker Mayfield faces off against Kirk Cousins, but Kirk Cousins comes out on top. Falcons win 36-30. I think the Falcons are fun, and I think we talked about it last week that they're probably going to keep playing in these types of games where it's going to be a one-score game, and probably don't bet against Kirk Cousins in these one-score games when it gets down to the wire.
Yeah, I this was probably the game of the not game of the year because but there wasn't the stakes involved, but this one was fun. The entire game was just offense, offense. You thought neither team was going to lose. Like that's how well each team was playing. Um, I don't know. I think there's a lot to hold your head on if you're a Buccaneers fan. They've got a really good 1-2 punch at running back with Bucky Irving now in the picture with Rashad White. Receiver wise, they're holding strong. Um, I believe Mike Evans got hurt in this game, didn't he? Or
I
am
can't
I
remember.
don't know if he returned, but uh yeah, I just thought this was like a one of those situations where 500 and fucking 9 yards is just not a way you can play defense, in the air. And so I think the Buccaneers, who once we thought had one of the better defenses in the league, just need to stiffen up.
Yeah, 509 yards to the air for Kirk Cousins is kind of tragic, and then 154 of it coming out of Drake London's pocket. I think both teams are fun. I think the NFC South, I think these are the two contenders after what we saw on Monday Night Football, but we'll get to that. But fun game. We'll head to the London game where the Vikings top the Jets 23-17. We talked a lot about this game already. Sam Darnold didn't have his best game. The Vikings defense stood strong and they were able to pull one out.
Yeah, I Sam Darnold is fifth in MVP voting, by the
I
way. I don't know
saw
if you
that. I
knew
saw
that.
that.
And I mean, he was less than 50% completion percentage and 1 interception on the day. It's also they're playing a really good defense. And I mean, Rodgers played like shit too. But all in all, this was a good game for the fans. I think if you're in London and you wanted a close game with teams that were relevant, like this is what you could ask for. And the Jets thankfully kept it a game all the way to the very end until that last stupid interception by Rodgers. Um, but yeah, I think the Jets are now in like a you've got to win. If you want to make the playoffs, you've got to start threading games together. And then the Vikings, you look at the NFC North, and not a team is below 500. So
Yeah, NFC North looking like the powerhouse division right now. Jets in turmoil with the whole head coach getting fired thing. And we talked about it 2 weeks ago. I mean, I think it's just going to be the theme is pairings of coaches that go well together. Kevin O'Connell's offense, Brian Flores' defense. I think the Vikings struck lightning in a bottle with that, and it wouldn't surprise me if Brian Flores doesn't get head coaching jobs with the whole out like fallout that he had in Miami for like a little while. Like I'm saying that he might be there for an extended period of time after this. 1 o'clock games. We'll head to kind of a boring one. Revenge game for Andy Dalton. Doesn't really pan out. Bears win 36-10. Caleb Williams looked very good in this game, especially with his connection to DJ Moore.
Yeah, and I'm glad I put money on DJ Moore to deliver because that was the revenge game for himself too. But I think Caleb Williams, I never had a doubt he was going to be good. And Bears are now, we all said this week 1, week 2, when they were struggling on offense, that we had a feeling they were going to put it together as the season progressed. And honestly, come midseason, they might be one of the better offenses in the NFL. You really don't know. I think they had that coaches only meeting with their offensive coordinator Shane Waldron, and they said they needed to get the ball more to DeAndre Swift and DJ Moore, and that's what they did. And look at them now.
Yeah, get the ball to their playmakers, and their offensive line seems to have figured out a couple of things. Caleb Williams is still getting pressured at a pretty high rate, but kind of plugged the hole just enough for him to be a little bit more successful. They've also been playing some weaker opponents, get his confidence back up. Panthers with Andy Dalton, fun story, but that could probably be the end. Bryce Young did get in at the end of this game. I probably wouldn't suspect Bryce Young to start any games within like the next like 3 weeks or so, but yeah, I mean, Panthers are at a lost cause right now, and they're not the only team in the NFL right now with a lost cause, so. All right, you said something about the game of the year before when we were talking about Bucks and Falcons. This was the game of the year so far. Ravens 41, Bengals 38 in overtime. Joe Burrow throws for
Yeah.
5 touchdown passes. Derrick Henry is still King Henry with 92 yards and a touchdown. Jamar Chase still carves up the Ravens every chance he gets when he plays them. And Lamar looks good, and he was cool under pressure at the end of the game. Didn't really have to do much when Derrick Henry breaks off like a 50-yard run to flip the field in overtime, but he looked cool under pressure in that one play where he's like fading to the right sideline, stiff arms a guy, and then just throws off his back foot, gets Isaiah Likely in the back of the end zone.
Yeah, I thought that was also incredible catch by Isaiah Likely. My takeaway, I was going to text you right after the week, was Jaden Daniels and Lamar Jackson coming up this next week. Like, that almost makes me think like that's for the MVP. Like, obviously it's not, but those two quarterbacks right now are just. And Jaden Daniels, his stat line came down to earth a little bit passing wise, but he still was incredible. And that's just, I thought I was certain that Jaden Daniels was not going to be like a really good quarterback in this league. I thought he was going to be, solved and figured out. So I was definitely wrong. But that is something that, it's more fun to watch quarterbacks like Jaden Daniels in the league. So it'll be cool to see him and the Commanders be good for the next few years at least.
Yeah,
And
Jaden Daniels.
I like how I turned the Ravens Bengals game into a Jaden Daniels conversation. But yeah, that was an incredible game.
Amazing game. Very fun to watch. I tuned into it at the end. Didn't get to watch the whole game, but very fun.
Derek,
Was Yeah, I mentioned that.
so, yeah, like well, he had like no yards the entire game, and then he had that last 70 yarder, and then Packers couldn't. I missed like the first two drives of the Packers Rams game because that game went into overtime, and everyone that had that wasn't local in Wisconsin missed it. So it's whatever.
Interesting. Yeah, Joe Burrow made one mistake in this game, and that was the turning tide of the whole game, was his one interception. So basically, the Bengals right now with their banged up defense, they have to pray that Joe Burrow plays a perfect game, and then because he 30 for 39, 392 yards and 5 touchdowns. Like, dude, he was lights out. All right, we'll go into the
Yeah,
next one. What do you got? You got a response to that?
no, I think they just need more than him. You know, Jamar Chase was incredible.
Yeah, Chase
Um,
Brown has really emerged himself.
yeah, they, they have a good offense. I think it's more
It's definitely
what
defensive.
do they do? Yeah.
I mean, you let up 41 points and they were leading in this game almost the entire time.
Hmm.
All right, next one. Boring game. Dolphins win 15 to 10. Snoop Huntley gets his first win as the Dolphins quarterback. I don't really want to talk about this game very much, besides the fact that Drake May is now the starter of the New England Patriots. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I this was always kind of one I thought was going to go the Dolphins' way, but throughout the game, it kind of looked like the Patriots were not the better team, but like they just had everything going their way. And then right near the end, the Dolphins strung some drives together, and then they were ended up able to get the touchdown in the fourth quarter. And they kind of had multiple opportunities to do it in the fourth, and then they finally got it done on the second one. Nothing that was, like you said, it wasn't one of the better games. I thought Jalen Wright looked really good as the
Oh,
starting running
yes.
back in their injuries, and he had a lot of plays called back because of holdings too. So um, the stat line of 13 carries, 86 yards, that was probably well over 110 with all his the holdings called against them. And but yeah, I mean, I see all the jokes about people wanting to get rid of Tyreek Hill in fantasy because it's like the best fantasy receiver for the last couple of years, and now he's worthless with the offense they have.
Yeah, I mean, give it time. Let's see what happens with Tua and that whole thing. I mean, he's expected to return in 2 weeks. So hopefully we can see a decent Tua and maybe the Dolphins can round back into form of like what we saw last year with their fun offense. But yeah, I mean, it's tough. They really they really screwed themselves over by not investing into a backup option in this offseason, like several other teams. But we'll see what happens with them.
I, let's do really quick. Let's son of a right here. Looking at their schedule, you've got
Yeah, we haven't played
next
this
week they
game
play the
yet.
Colts. The next week they play the Colts. They win. I'm not going to say, I'm not going to predict the rest of their schedule, but I'm just going to say that's a winnable game. Let's say 3-3. Cardinals, winnable game in Miami, 4-3. Dolphins, Bills, not a winnable game. Although the Bills have kind of not been as good this recently. Rams, winnable game. Raiders, winnable game. That's
By
four
that point
winnable
with the
games.
Rams, though, the Nakua and Cup will be back.
Well, maybe Tua is too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you Patriots, winnable game. That's five winnable games. Packers, easily a winnable game. That's six. Then Jets, you don't know what you're going to the Jets. That's seven winnable games. Browns, hate to say
Winnable.
it, but
They're
probably
gonna
a
win
winnable
that one. Dolphins
game.
win that game 19 times out of 20. The only one chance we
I think that
have is if we start Amari Cooper at quarterback.
I think they can easily. There's a path to win 10 games this season still with the Dolphins,
Yeah,
and
they can
I
really
think
get
more
back
real.
into it.
Yeah, so it's just like it's not the end of the world. They have a pretty easy schedule.
It helps that they're in the AFC East.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, playing the Jets twice, playing the Patriots twice. They still haven't played the Patriots one time, so you got 2 games on the schedule, or they just played the Patriots. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right, we'll get into the next game. Ugly game. Commanders 34, Browns 13. Browns in complete turmoil. Jaden Daniels looks great. Rookie of the year. Jim Schwartz defense is never good against running quarterbacks, and saw that again on Sunday. And the Browns defense always cannot stop a jet sweep. It has been a thing since Jim Schwartz got here that he cannot, their defense just cannot read a jet sweep for some reason. You run it on if you run a jet sweep the entire game, you'll win the game against the Browns like 45 to nothing. Um, Other than that, I do think that we gave Jaden Daniels some problems. Like the defense kept us in the game for like a pretty good amount of time. And then, the offense did their thing and three and out, three and out, three and out, turnover, three and out, like all that good jazz. So, it was just a ticking time bomb between how long the defense could hold up and when Jaden Daniels was going to explode. So, um, Stefanski really changed that offense, man. The more and more I pay attention to it, the more and more I know I'm right. He continues to go five wide, leave an empty backfield, unlike what he did last year, under center. Read option plays obviously don't work. Like these misdirection plays that he used to run, like he doesn't run them anymore. I don't know if it's just like the fact that Deshaun Watson just sucks. Because, you watch film and there are receivers running wide open and he's looking at them and he just doesn't throw the ball and he continues to hold them and he continues to get sacked at a alarming rate of like 7 times a game. Browns suck. You want to know what I was thinking about today?
Mm-hmm.
What you want to know what really got me excited was the fact that if Deshaun Watson continues to play like he does for the Browns this season, he is going to get cut. Like, there's no doubt about it. The Browns will probably eat that money. But if he continues to play this way and he gets cut, the Browns are probably gonna have like a top overrated, like a top 10 draft pick. And I get to think about like a quarterback that like I can root for like the next 20 years of my life. And that was what it was making me happy today, was the fact that I just kind of am like, all right, I'm done with this season. Let me just start thinking about the draft and thinking about, Quinn Ewers or Jalen Milrow, Cam Ward.
Jalen Milrow, dude. Jalen Milrow is the bust of all busts. But I love Jalen Milrow in college.
You probably shouldn't say that because you said that about Jaden Daniels and look at where you're at.
No, I never thought Jane Daniels was going to be like terrible. I thought he was never going to be like the guy. And um, um Jalen Milrow is. I'm sorry, but he's a hit and miss in college, let alone. But that's a funny point, just regardless, because I mean the Browns perennially are not the best at drafting quarterbacks in the top 10,
Well,
so it would be funny to
obviously
get your
we
hopes up
haven't
for
gotten one in like 30 years, so.
that. But you know what? Like, was it this game where they're like Deshaun Watson walked up the field and Kevin Stefanski was trying to go for it?
Yeah, they were in the red zone, had a great like chunk play to Amari Cooper, got down to the two. Just like last week, where they get down there on a chunk play and then they sputter out doing something stupid. Next play, they have, oh man, was it a false start? No, the immediate next play, first down. They don't, Deshaun Watson doesn't get the playoff. Delay of game, 5 yards back. Next play, call it, and then he gets sacked. I forget what happens next, and then yeah, it leads to what looks like Deshaun Watson walking off the field, but he did the right thing technically because the play clock was running down already. So they had to go to the line. They had 12 men in the huddle. So they were going to get flagged anyways for having 12 men in the huddle. That's why he walked away from the huddle. So they just
Yeah,
took the delay of
I
game and then took a field goal. And but like even at pre-snap things, like the Browns cannot get set. They don't get set in a timely manner, or they're confused as to where they're going. Like all the things that you're supposed to iron out in OTAs and training camp.
um I also saw a stat that the Cleveland Browns run like
The
number
most
one in the
plays out of
NFL in
shotgun.
shotgun. Yeah, and they're like the least play. They're like 3.4 yards per shotgun attempt, and not even attempt per shotgun play ran. And it's I mean it's something where I think Stefanski is handcuffed to what Deshaun Watson likes to play with. Like I think Deshaun Watson they have no choice but to just play the offense that he wants. And Deshaun Watson's offense doesn't mesh with what Kevin Stefanski likes to do, nor what the offensive, capabilities are. And once Nick Chubb going to come back anytime soon? I have him on my IR on my fantasy
Yeah,
team. What's happening?
so he said something today that like I think he's eyeing the Bengals game in 2 weeks. So like not this week, next week.
Yeah, I mean that's if there's like just a glimmer of like, oh, like let's watch some meaningful football. Not meaningful football, but I mean, truthfully, you could be still be in the hunt for meaningful football. But once you're worse than 2-5, once you're 2-6, and I say that because the Packers are 2-5, and the Chiefs are 1-5 and made the playoffs. But once you're 2-6, your season's pretty much over. So you're playing meaningful football until it's 2-6.
Nah, they'll lose again this week. It's all right. All right, we'll go to the next game. Another fun one. Joe Flacco. Jaguars 37, Colts 34. Jaguars get their first win. Look a little bit better. Behind Tank Bigsby running for 101 yards and 2 touchdowns. Trevor Lawrence looked better, 371 yards, 2 touchdowns. Joe Flacco, though, man, I wish he was still a Brown.
This was such a good game. Like it was just like the Alec Pierce back to back deep tosses to from Joe Flacco. You're like, holy crap, is this like Brady to Moss right now? Like what the heck is happening? It was I remember I was traveling in the air, but during the day game, the 1 p.m.s, the only two games on TV when I was in the plane was the Commanders and Browns game, and then Texans Bills. So I was switching back and forth between those two. And then I caught the end of once I landed, I got the end of this game when it got good. And Flacco was, just dominating with his arm to come back. And then
Whoa, did you see him
Tank
dominate with his
Bigsby had that
legs?
giant run. Did he?
He had like a 30-yard run, and apparently Amazon Prime clocked him at going 18 miles an hour.
Yeah. I mean, congrats. I hope they should have built in the
Build the
run
statue.
pass options with him.
Just start running more of that Anthony Richardson style offense.
Yeah, but no, I mean this was a huge win, obviously, for the Jags. This was something that now there's no completely defeated teams in the league, which is kind of crazy how early that is.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a team that only has like 2 wins at the end of the year, though.
I disagree. I mean, they're definitely gonna get another one against the Packers in 2 weeks. But
Are you saying
outside of that,
you're saying the Jaguars are?
yeah.
I'm saying that it wouldn't surprise me that a 1-win team right now only has 2 by the end of the year. Any 1-win team,
Oh, okay. Okay.
not
Yeah.
the
I mean,
Jags.
you know what? You could be right, but
I could be right.
one
Yes.
3-win team isn't.
All right. We'll go to another good game in the 1 o'clocks. Texans top the Bills 23-20. Josh Allen, 2 weeks in a row, very bad game. CJ Stroud had a great game. The Bills defense is what kept them in this game. And Sean McDermott, some questionable coaching decisions.
Um, yeah, that was. I didn't listen to the press conference after the game, which would have been interesting to understand like what the thought process was. My guess would be, hey, we're not playing to tie, we're playing to win.
Yeah.
And the rebuttal there is, okay, yeah, but play to your chances of winning when it's third down in the last 20 seconds of the game and you have to punt it like is a lot less than you punting to or not having a punt and running out the clock. I'm thinking through a situation like that where uh I was trying to justify what they did, and I don't think you're like extremely mad as a Bills fan because Sean McDermott's a coach you can trust, down the stretch, and that team's going to be just fine. But it always seems like the Bills start off really hot in the season, then they like have a couple bumps in the road, and then they're good in the playoffs. Like you don't have to worry about the Bills. Like they just have a few, tough thing. Well, I mean, last year, remember they were like 6-6, and then they like won like 5 games straight. But everyone's like,
Yeah,
"Oh, the Bills are going to miss the playoffs."
they do this thing where they go up and down to start the season, and then that December, January comes and it gets winter out in Orchard Park, and fucking they go on a roll and they climb this mountain at the end of the season, and all Bills fans are at the top. They're fucking on it, on it, on it, almost like they're jumping to uh jump through a table, and then they fall off a cliff when they meet the Chiefs in the playoffs every year.
Sounds like sounds like the Rodgers Packers every single fucking season. But anyways,
You got a Super Bowl out of it though, man. You got one.
uh, Josh Allen will have a Super Bowl in his career. That's for sure.
Mark your words. All right, next game. Bo Nix, Kingdom Come in Denver. Broncos 34, Raiders 18. Gardner Minshew pulled out in the middle of this game. AOC is now in. Broncos defense is legit.
Uh, you know,
Who's been
who
calling
said
this
that
all year is Cole Mueller.
preseason? I said the Broncos would be good at football, and yeah, I'm fucking right. I also can just go ahead and say that yeah, the Broncos defense is very good. Their offense is also not terrible. And I'm saying that because I think they're going to get better. They're obviously not playing good enough offense to like carry them through a game, and that probably won't be the case all season. But they're not going to be a hard or an easy win in any case. So
Yeah, I think they're just going to be a hard out with that defense, man. I think that their defense will definitely keep them in games, and if Bo Nix can manage the game and not turn the ball over, it'll be tough. They'll be a tough team to play. It worries me with their wideouts, like Cortland Sutton. Yeah, he's a name. He's like a household name. I kind of can't name any others. I know like Tim Patrick's there and Josh
I think Tim
Reynolds.
Patrick's not.
They tried to
I
trade
think
Tim
he was like
Patrick. Something about Tim Patrick. All right, next game, 4 o'clock games. Cardinals surprised the 49ers 24 to 23. Did you see that Kyler Murray run where he deuced it at the 40-yard line?
yeah, that was I feel like the Cardinals always get the Niners once in the season. I don't know how accurate that is, but um, that was a satisfying game to see play out. I like to see the Cardinals win. Um, the Niners are fine, but like I don't worry about the Niners at all. I don't I would be glad to see them not be a good football team this year. But if I was a Niners fan, I would be a little skeptical about the defense that they have. And is it just a couple star players and then there's not depth anymore? And they're kind of getting ran all over the place. And the other thing is Devondre, Packers had Devondre Campbell. I know Devondre Campbell. I know they're linebackers across the board. Besides Fred Warner, I mean that middle linebacking core is. I mean Dre Greenlaw is hurt. I don't know if
Yeah.
he's coming back at the end of the. But once he's back, they're probably going to be a different team. But
I
they
think he's
just,
an 8 week designated to return guy.
yeah, I mean they look like a skeleton defense of what they were last playoffs. And I know they lost Javon Hargrave, and they don't have Drake Greenlaw right now. They lost guys in the secondary, but
Didn't that guy that has the big
Tuf-
hair, didn't he get
Tufanga.
hurt? Yeah, didn't he get hurt again?
Yeah, I think he's not. I didn't see him playing the last couple weeks.
But Cardinals feisty as fuck. I called that one. I called that one. Um, yeah, I think once the weapons return on offense for the 49ers, it'll look a little bit different. The only reason why I say that is because they'll be able to control the ball and the clock a lot better with those weapons. So maybe ipso facto additions on offense will help out the defense by keeping them off the field a little bit more type of deal. But I
Yeah,
think I agree with you that the
I
the
mean that
49ers shouldn't really worry that much.
yeah, I mean they're going to be just fine.
All right, next game, Packers top the Rams 24-19. Were you sweating this one out?
This was yeah, I mean I didn't think we were going to win. I'll say that. I thought the first drive of the game, Love throws the ball just off of a little step into it, not even like a crow hop, just throws it like a beautiful like 64 yards in the air. And terrible decision. I mean, he had Dontavian Wicks 15 yards down the field wide open, but he throws it in a triple coverage with Jaden Reed 65 yards down the field. And just the only spot where it could probably be caught, and Jaden Reed made an incredible catch. And I still think this Jaden Reed, I don't know for people that aren't Packers, don't really watch Packers games week in, week out. Jaden Reed is playing like one of the best receivers in the NFL right now, and he's making incredible catches every single week. And he's also very difficult to tackle. He's our punt returner. He's he's kind of a do-it-all guy for the Green Bay Packers right now, and he's established himself as like the number one in terms of a game plan scheme type player, um, similar to like a Debo Samuel for the Niners. And Christian Watson's out, Romeo Dobbs was out, so we were kind of banged up and didn't have all our receivers. Tucker Craft is insanely good, but again, we defensively we have the one of the worst pass rushes. I think we're like third, top three worst pass rushes in the NFL right now. Rashawn Gary is playing. He hasn't had a sack in 13 games, and we're paying him like top five pass rusher money. So it's definitely a concern. I've watched Rashawn Gary every single snap now on defense, just waiting for him to get a sack. Like I literally watch Rashawn Gary every snap, just like, bitch, you better. And I love Rashawn Gary too. Like I don't hate him for not getting a sack, but you watch him and like he just doesn't play to his strengths, and he's not even playing like really strong offensive tackles. He's just playing average offensive linemen sometimes, and he's getting chipped a little bit. And but it doesn't matter if you're getting paid and you're supposed to be one of the premier pass rushers in the league. You've got to break through that type of shit. And Xavier McKinney's got an interception per game and should have had two interceptions in this game. So I mean that's those are the highlights. But yes, Matt Stafford and Sean McVay in the fourth quarter with the chance to win the game and the way they were driving the ball against our defense. I thought there was I was ready to live bet. I had like $50 in the Packers and I never bet on my team to win. And I was ready like there was multiple times where I was a little drunk and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna double down and bet on the Rams to win. And I'm glad I did.
Only letting up 19 points though, even with how your defense has played. That's pretty impressive though. I mean, like I know the Rams are a little beat up, but you know, your
Wait,
defense
who
is
was that? You
playing
said
good enough to help you win games.
oh yeah, the 19 points. I mean, we gave up what? Just the one 6 point touchdown in the second
in the
half.
in the
It
second
was
half, yeah.
13 yeah, 13-10 in the first half, but it was like we were only big plays the whole game. It was we couldn't drive the ball down the field like
That
steady
Jaden
Eddie.
Reed throw was insane in the beginning of the game.
Yeah, I was like, damn, we are gonna dominate this game, aren't we? And
Oh, I
no, we
thought
did
that
not.
too, and you didn't. All right, we'll go to the next game.
Yeah,
Giants 29, Seahawks 20. Giants 2-3 Giants.
this was a crazy.
Surprise. Seahawks.
I uh I mean Seahawks can't let that type of game happen.
No,
But if as an NFC contender, everyone's happy to see a team like the Giants beat the Seahawks, and that was in Seattle too, wasn't it?
hmm
So, I mean, those types of games, you're like, that's just the NFL. Vanderbilt beats Bama, Giants beat the Seahawks in Seattle,
we
and
should have beat uh
Seattle powerhouse.
bet
But
big on them.
you bet big on what? Vanderbilt?
No, on we should have bet big on the Giants because Vanderbilt beat Bama, so somebody had to have a huge upset over the NFL Sunday.
Oh, yeah. I
But
was like, Kyle would be a bet on fucking Vanderbilt.
Sunday night football. Cowboys 20, Steelers 17. This looked like a typical Steelers game. It looked ugly on both sides. The Cowboys drove up and down the field on the Steelers defense. A little bit surprising, but they stood tall and stood tough when they got down into the red zone. Got a couple of turnovers out of Dak Prescott and held them to 20 points. The problem is Justin Fields can't connect with the wide receivers on the outside very well. I don't understand why the Steelers don't run the ball more with Najee Harris because when he does get the ball and have a chance, he does do a very good job. Probably averages around 3 yards a carry. And I don't understand why they don't incorporate him in the pass game with screens and passes like out of the backfield more because he is impressive when he does get those chances. I know that those plays are kind of saved for Jalen Warren, but Jalen Warren's not playing right now. I don't understand why they don't utilize Najee a little bit more to help out Justin Fields. Their offense looks very sluggish and not on track, and George Pickens looks like he's becoming more of a distraction than the wide receiver that like the top five wide receiver that we thought he could be.
Yeah, you ever have like, I mean, I think George Pickens is really, really good.
Yeah.
But you've got like the receivers that played on bad teams, a uh like a Brandon Marshall on like a bad Broncos team, or like a
Randy Moss on the Raiders.
an Allen Robinson on the Jaguars. I mean, Randy Moss and the Raiders was washed up Randy Moss,
How's
but
that how's that washed
I
up
just
Randy
I don't know.
Moss?
I'm coming up. Randy Moss was washed up as fuck his last few years.
He
You
played on
don't
the
remember
Raiders
like
before he
washed up
played
Randy
on
Moss
the
on the Tennessee?
Patriots.
Did he really?
Yeah. The Patriots
I don't know
traded
if I
for
remember
Randy
that.
Moss from the Raiders.
Yeah, you think I give a fuck about that? That shit was like 2000 and
No, but
2000 and fucking
I
8.
just handed one of the things that you were trying to use as your defense, and you were like, he was washed up. No.
Um, but but the yeah, I mean, shit. I think I didn't watch a second of that game because they delayed it by fucking 2 hours, and I was like excited to watch Sunday Night Football, and they fucked me. Is what they did.
All right, then we'll head to Monday Night
That's the
Football.
worst. That's what really. I mean, that's the worst. If you're, I thought about like I remember just taking a piss and thinking about this after it was delayed for 2 hours. I'm like, imagine having to like have a important meeting or something at work on Monday morning, and you gotta fucking stay up to watch like you're not gonna go to bed on your team, so you're stuck staying up till 1 a.m. watching your team, and if you fucking lose that game, it's fucking miserable. So I feel bad for Steelers fans.
Yeah, and they had a sick ass play at the end that should have ended the game, but it didn't. Dude, it was like Rico Dowdle tried to jump over the line, and Landon Roberts met
Yeah,
him, and he fumbled, and the Steelers didn't recover it. Should have ended the game right there, but Dak gets a second opportunity, and he scores. Monday Night Football, Chiefs, Saints. Chiefs beat the Saints 26 to 13. Chiefs are going to go to the Super Bowl undefeated and win. And Derek Carr is now hurt, so Spencer Rattler is now the quarterback of the Saints, and that's all I have to say about that game. I don't really want to talk about the fact that the Saints are just taking washed up veterans from other teams, like the Patriots used to do, and making them good.
Yeah, I'm uh sure.
Juju Smith-Schuster
Relatively.
having
They're
7 catches for 130 yards is absurd.
Oh, I thought you said the Saints doing that. Okay.
No, the
I was like
Chiefs.
relative is good. Yeah, no, I mean Juju's I don't know if he's washed up. I think he's just
Dude,
not.
I haven't, like, he hasn't had over 100 yards in like 4 years.
It's because he's been bouncing around and he's been playing contract battles or contract battle ball, trying to get like nice 1 year deals and then bust it big, and he's not doing it. But I mean, he's still only like 26, so I don't think he's washed up. I also don't think he was ever as good as people thought he was. You looking up his age right now?
Yep, he's
He's
28.
26, isn't he? Oh, okay.
I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you.
Uh,
You're close.
the time flies when you're having fun.
Do you want to get in
Funny little
second down?
stat right here. Yes, but let me just go over the stat. So far through week 5 NFC stats, there are 10 teams that are 500 or better.
Damn.
Let me just confirm 10 teams. You've got the Minnesota Vikings, the Washington Commanders, the Detroit Lions, the Seattle Seahawks, the Atlanta Falcons, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Detroit Lions. I already said them. The Green Bay Packers, the Chicago Bears, the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Dallas Cowboys. You only have 6 in the AFC, and none of them. Oh, never mind. 2 of them have less than one loss, but still, that's that's a trash. Like I'm looking at that, and like if you're a Cleveland Browns team, maybe you don't have hope because the offense looks like dog shit. But I mean, if you're like the Cincinnati Bengals at 1-4, like
Yeah,
come
Bengals
on,
fans are
you're
not letting up, man.
yeah.
All right, second down, Thursday night football, 49ers at Seahawks. San Francisco is 3.5 point favorites. I'm excited for this game. This kind of reminds me of when they were two very good teams, Pete Carroll against Jim Harbaugh, San Francisco 49ers. What do you got?
Um, this would be a really good one. I'm honestly just looking at the slate right now. The being in Seattle, I'm shocked that Seattle is over 3 points underdogs, but I also know that Kyle Shanahan and that veteran Niners offense and that team is aren't just gonna let themselves fall to 2-4. So I would definitely, Niners money line is something I would put a lot on, and I would be
Hmm.
shocked to see the Niners fall to 2-4. So it'd be cool to see both teams go to 3-3.
Yeah, even out. That'll even out your NFC West. All right, let's go to
Mm-hmm.
Sunday where we do have a London game. The Jaguars, who are basically London's team, are going to technically it's a home game for the Bears, and the Bears are 2.5 point favorites. Very odd because I do think the Bears have been playing better than the Jags, but I feel like the Jags just have a ton of experience going to Tottenham Hotspur and playing games.
Yeah, and I don't know. I Part of me is like the Jaguars are, like I said last week, they were the best 0-4 team I've ever seen in the NFL. And they're not the best 1-4 team I've ever seen in the NFL, but they're a pretty good one. And I think they will I think the Bears are gonna win this game, but I think it'll be a close one.
Yeah, I think it'll be. I wish this was the Nickelodeon game. I wish they did that again. It was super fun last year. Brian Thomas Jr., the Jaguars wide receiver. Damn, he's having a good year as a rookie. Tank Bigsby's having an
Yeah.
emergence. I think it'll be a lot more fun. I did get up to watch the Jets Vikings game, and it ended up being a fun game. Kind of ugly. I hope it's less ugly this time. But all right, 1 o'clock
Yeah.
games. Starting off hot. Your Packers at home hosting the Cardinals. Packers 5-point favorites.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone in the Packers organization knows that they have to play better if they're going to beat the Cardinals than the Rams. I saw the line, I think it was at 5.5 or 6, I got it at. And I immediately put money on the Cardinals just because I think this line should be more like 2.5, 3. And um, especially with the way the Packers are playing, like they're not playing dominant football. They're playing down to their opponent and they're beating themselves. We can't sustain a drive because we get a holding penalty or a illegal formation or something on every single drive. So the only way we score is on these big 50-yard plays because we can't just consistently drive the ball yet. And it's frustrating. Uh, and I mean, I hope this is a week where we turn it around. I know Love hasn't been ingrained in the offense healthy for long, but I think this is a game where we have to continue to push the progress. Cardinals are a really good team. They're not going to let up, so it'll be a good one.
Yeah, I think it'll be a very good game. Two tough teams. I'd be curious to see what Jaden Reed's stat line is at the end of this game. I think that Jordan Love's going to put more trust into him. Yeah, I think he's becoming his favorite target type deal.
Romeo Dobbs sat out of the last game for not um, being involved, so Romeo Dobbs is back. There's some drama there. I would expect Romeo Dobbs to get a touchdown.
Feed him the ball. All right, next game. Colts Titans. Titans, surprisingly, 2.5-point favorites. If Joe Flacco play is the starting quarterback for the Colts in this game, uh, hammer the fucking Colts.
Yeah, I seeing this now, I'm kind of shocked at that myself on why the Titans would be 2.5 point favorites.
Yeah, I don't know why. I guess maybe they think Anthony Richardson's going to be coming back. That's about it because there have been no signs of the Titans being a well put together team right now. Even that Monday night game that they won against the Dolphins still didn't look that great. Without a Tony Pollard garbage time touchdown, they kicked like 8 field goals. And the Colts are dangerous with Joe Flacco at quarterback. But since they used a high pick on Anthony Richardson, once he's healthy, they have to play him. Um, we'll just go to the next game. Texans at Patriots. Drake May's first game going against the Texans. Texans are 7-point favorites in New England.
Yeah, I'm as a you look at the Texans and I don't think they're as good as people think they like they're a very good team, don't get me wrong. But I think the Texans have played some sloppy football and they are lucky to be 4-1 and they're clearly going to go to 5-1 here, but I think they're a little bit overrated for a 5-1 team and they've had a favorable outcome, lineup these last few weeks, so um but hey, they beat the Bills.
Yep. All right, next game. We have another NFC South showdown. Buccaneers at Saints. Spencer Rattler getting his first game. Tough test with the Buccaneers coming into town. Bucks, 3.5-point favorites.
Uh Buccaneers are going to win this football game. Spencer Rattler is the quarterback, and I don't know why. It's only a 3.5 point line.
because the Saints are at home, I guess. I don't know. Maybe there's a lot of faith in Spencer Rattler. I don't know. Next game, Browns
I think
at Eagles. Ugly game. Browns are gonna get absolutely slaughtered. Philly, 9.5 point favorites.
that's this is now like the Browns are now the team that the Vegas is doing this to. Where they're like, this might be the first game where they're cracking a one possession game odds. But you know what that means, dude? You always pick the Browns in these situations because you just like the chances of them stabilizing that type of score.
Nah, nah.
No?
Hammer the Eagles. All right, next game, Commanders
Yeah,
at Ravens. If Jameis Winston plays, I'd bet on the Browns, but with John Watson, no. Um, Commanders at Ravens, the Battle of Washington, D.C. Fucking Ravens, 6.5 point favorites.
yeah. If I mean the truth is, I don't know how many fans there are that exist for Washington, and if they do exist, I think they're kind of just fake showing up fans, you know. So I don't know if part of me is like, oh, Commanders fans, they're just a hop skip away from Baltimore, and they can take over that stadium or at least make it a neutral site. Not in Baltimore, and Baltimore is a pretty good home field advantage. So that being said, yeah, there's no reason why it should be a 6.5 point advantage, and it should be probably like a 3.5, and I would definitely pick the Washington Commanders in this.
Out of the entire weekend, this is the most expensive ticket to get at the lowest price. Like the lowest ticket is the highest price out of all the tickets. All right, moving
Also, the
into
best. I think it's the best game of the
yeah,
week.
probably, probably, yeah. This 4 o'clock slate that I'm looking at
Best game
is
of the year. So
is not very appetizing. First game is Chargers at Broncos. Chargers coming off their bye week. Hopefully they get some guys back. Joe Alt, Rashawn Slater, Justin Herbert. Hopefully heals from the ankle. Chargers surprisingly 3 point favorites.
this is a like I know this is like not an attractive game on surface level, but this is a big game. Like you're talking about a team in the Broncos. If they go to 4-2, and then the Chargers, I mean, I think they're the better team. And if they go to 3-2, that's big for them. So kind of a pivotal division rivalry matchup here, but it'll be a fun one.
Yeah, I think it'll be a fun matchup. I think these division rivals. I'm just surprised that the Chargers are favored by 3 with how well the Broncos have kind of performed the last 2 weeks. Maybe they're giving it to them because of they're coming off their bye and Jim Harbaugh's good off the bye type deal. I don't know. All right, next one, Steelers at Raiders. Steelers 3 point favorites. I don't know who's starting at quarterback for the Raiders. I don't have that information on me.
Aiden O'Connell. Aiden
Okay.
O'Connell was announced a starter like 8 hours ago.
All right.
So, so with that being said, yeah, Pittsburgh should clearly win this game, and it's fair that it's a 36.5 point spread, too. Or not spread, but over under.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely
Boring game.
fun.
All right, this is
Yeah.
probably the best 4 o'clock game. The other one, the Chargers Broncos, is probably going to be the other one, like good one, but this is probably the best. Lions at Cowboys. Detroit 3 point favorites in the dome.
Yep. It's a big game. Cowboys are kind of just not the dominant team you thought they might be this season so far, and this would be a huge win if they could pull it off. Um,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they will, so I'm gonna pick the Lions in this.
Yeah, Lions coming off the bye is tough, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Cowboys backdoor cover it. Um, Next game, Falcons at Panthers. Falcons 6-point favorites.
Yeah, the Falcons are going to win this game by more than 6 points.
Nice. I
That's my
like it.
prediction.
I like the confidence. Sunday Night Football, Bengals at Giants. Giants pretty feisty now after getting two wins, one against the Browns, the other against the Seahawks. Daniel Jones has looked a lot better. Bengals starving for a win after starting the season 1-4. Bengals 3.5-point favorites.
The Bengals, they're going to win this game by more than 3.5 points. Although, if the Giants win this game, all of a sudden you're looking at the Giants at 500 and like, wow, this is the turnaround.
Yeah, and I
So,
think you could
kind of a,
write the Bengals off if they start 1-5.
yeah, I agree. This is kind of a, whoever wins this is redeemed.
All right, Monday Night Football, good one for you, big one for you and a lot of your stock. Bills at Jets. Bills 2.5-point favorites. What do you got?
Spread's 2.5. Yeah, I got the
Yeah,
Jets. This is a Jets have to win this one. They lost Robert Saleh. It's in New York. Aaron Rodgers. This is his time.
yeah, yeah, it'll be a tough game. All right, third down. What do we got here? Best sneakiest matchup. Last week you said Seahawks. Nope, that's 2 weeks ago. I didn't even write it down. I don't really care. Best matchup, in my opinion. Uh, for this weekend, let's see. Let's think of one real quick. Thursday night football, man. I'm really excited about 49ers Seahawks. I think that's the best matchup. Fucking NFC West teams, probably the two that'll duke it out for the NFC West crown with the Rams struggling and the Cardinals kind of rebuilding. I think there could be a lot of fun. Thursday night football games have been decently good this year.
Way better than they've been in the past year. I would say it's the Kirk Herbstreit effect. Al Michaels is getting older, and I don't know if you've watched like the. I think Al Michaels is losing it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he is like 90.
Um, he's gonna keep doing it till he's. But you know what? Whatever. Love Al Michaels.
They're gonna
I
just
did not want to
bury,
turn
they're
this
just
into
gonna
a.
bury him
I,
in the booth one night.
yeah, yeah. I'm sorry. Um. Anyways, uh,
Who's your best match?
Commanders, Commanders, Ravens.
All right, sneakiest matchup. Sneakiest matchup for me. I'm gonna go with an ugly one. I'm going with Buccaneers Saints. NFC South rivalry. Spencer Rattler getting his start. Everybody's writing off the Saints after losing 3 games in a row. Maybe Spencer Rattler rights the ship. Baker Mayfield's been really good. That Bucs offense has been high powered. Let's see what happens in this game. What do you got?
Yeah, I like that. I would say Broncos Chargers
Yeah, I
is a
thought that
really
was
good
going to be
one. I
yours.
think that's going to be a big division game, and I think that's going to come down to a field goal or at least the last possession.
All right, and then that brings us into fourth down, and that's favorites and upset of the week. Cole, this is bad. This is really bad, dude.
I know. I can't fucking help it too. It's fucking
Um,
whatever I pick is.
you have not won a lock of the week yet. I have not won an upset of the week yet. You have one win, uh, 2 wins for your upset of the week. I have one, two, three wins for my favorite of the week.
Yeah, so you're only beating me by one.
Yeah, in this one. All right, who's your favorite favorite?
But this is gonna be
Who's your lock?
My favorite is give me the Eagles over the Browns.
Nice,
I'm just kidding.
nice. I wait.
I'm doing that to help you. I'm doing
That's
that to
your
help you.
that's well, you're gonna nail it. There's no chance the Browns win this game. I'll take the Texans to beat the fucking Patriots. I'm 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 telling you, if Drake May wins that game, I'll be shocked. All right, who's your upset of the week?
Yeah. Upset of the week. Give me the Cardinals over the Packers.
Cardinals over the Packers. Okay. And if Joe Flacco is the starting quarterback of the Colts, give me the Colts.
It's a
All
good
right.
point.
Let's go into our week six. The week six standings right now. Cole, after having a good week at 4-2, climbs up the ladder to 13, 16, and 1. And myself having a 4-2 week, 19 and 11.
Uh, what's my record again?
13, 16, and 1.
Oh, that's pretty good. Um, all right. Week first game I got. Give me the um Colts over the Titans.
Colts plus 2.5.
Colts plus 2.5.
All right, that was mine. Colts plus 2.5. All right, give me a second.
Niners over the Seahawks. 3.5.
Oh, you jumped on me. You jumped on me. Niners minus 3.5 over the Seahawks. Dude, I'm going back and forth on this game. I might have to go. I might have to scroll down. I might have to scroll down and look at it. Fuck. I like the Broncos plus 3.
Okay.
Who do you got
I'm gonna
next?
go. Give me the Cardinals plus 5.
Cardinals plus 5. Give me the Steelers minus 3.
Give me the Commanders plus 6.5.
Yeah, I think that line is crazy.
I know.
Um, I really like the Lions coming off the bye to cover the 3.
I do too.
You're taking that too?
Give me that game. Yeah. So that's my fifth or sixth?
That's your fifth. I need a
That's
fifth.
my fifth.
Um, oh God. I keep going back and forth on these next two. Hmm. Give me the Jaguars plus 2.5. I can't believe I just said that.
Give me the Bears
Minus 2.5.
minus 2.5.
All right. And then my last one I'll do. I like the Bucks minus 3.5. Backup quarterback. I'm going Bucks minus 3.5. That half a point. That half a point is the thing that scares me. If it was 3,
Yeah.
I'd be all over it. The 3.5, I don't know. And the Bucks defense hasn't been great. So I don't know if Spencer Rattler, like how great he is, but there's a chance he could dice up the Bucks defense. And it's going to come down to Baker putting up points, which that's kind of what I put my faith in is Baker's been solid all year. All right. Do you have any anytime touchdown bets, anything like that?
Romeo Dobbs.
Romeo Dobbs, anytime touchdown, put your money on it. He's been not great at putting hitting these bets, but maybe it'll happen. Um, anytime touchdown. Give me Terry McLaurin to score a touchdown and Dalton Kincaid Monday Night Football. Give me both the tight ends. Give me Dalton Kincaid and Tyler Conklin, both scoring touchdowns on Monday Night Football. All right, anything
Terry,
else?
no, I like the Terry McLaurin one. That's a good one. You, just almost halfway through the season already. Week
Yeah,
six.
that's crazy. It's flying by. Eminem Going Deep has been rolling. Hockey is now started. Playoff baseball's going on. I'm missing the Yankee game. That's why I'm kind of like trying to rush. Um, anyways, it's your favorite time of year where all the sports nucleus happens, where we get all four sports playing at the same time. It's wild. Tune in to NFL. Seahawks, 49ers, Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime tomorrow. And then you got all your games on Sunday. You got a London game. You East Coast ponies, wake up early for that one. And then Monday Night Football to cap it all off. Good week in college football too. Oregon, Ohio State, fun game to watch if you like college football. Next week's an even bigger week. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit. But that is the end of Eminem Going Deep. Everyone have a great week. Go Browns, even though they fucking suck, and I can't wait for Deshaun Watson to go to prison.
Okay. All right.